Bridgestone and Upper Sandusky is quickly becoming the best team in town. The only thing we are missing is you. We are now hiring operators making $15.69 an hour and going to $20.02 in just 12 months. Come join us. Make great money, get fantastic benefits, and work with the best team in town. Hey, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Amanda. And this is a podcast where we talk Wyandot business and the people who help run them.
What's up, Wyandot? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Up, Wyandot. You may have noticed that we've been off of our episode schedule lately, but that is because we've got some big changes coming up here at the Chamber. So, Amanda, could you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Amanda is leaving.
Goodbye.
Not wait a second, we have to film an episode.
So I resigned. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Next week is my last week. Well, when you're listening to this, I will be gone probably.
I'm going to try to post it on Monday. So
if you're listening to this, I'll be here there for one more day. You can come say farewell to me on Tuesday the 31st.
Yeah. 4 to 7.
4 to 7.
Right here at the Chamber office.
Yeah, we'll have adult beverages and some snacks and
just come on in and
hang out with me for one last time.
Yeah. So you've probably been asked this question a bunch, but where are you going?
Moving to California. I'm just kidding. I have just been asked this question so many times that I have been continuing to think of things to say. But I was offered a really good opportunity. Wyandot Memorial Hospital just opened their med spa. It's just a line of Botox and waxing and hair removals and all that good stuff. And a lot of people were shocked because I have actually had my cosmetology license since 2011. So I've had it for 10 years. I just hated it. It was just pretty much coloring hair, perms, haircuts. The beauty industry has really grown in the last 10 years. So I just want to take more time to clock in and clock out and then go home and be with my son as our lives get a little bit busier. And COVID has made this job more challenging than I can imagine, and kind of weighs at the heart to see if it happens one more time. So
yeah, the COVID situation feels like it's up in the air, and I mean, just in general, this job, I like it, but I can imagine having a child. The Chamber has a lot of after-hour events and lots of meetings you need to attend, and being at work early. And just from observing you, I feel like this seems like a really difficult schedule to have with an elementary age child.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a 24/7 job. You wake up in your chamber and you go to bed in your chamber, which I wholeheartedly put everything I have into this job. I think that's why people get exhausted or burnt out because they live at the job that they love, and that always comes to an end, and it's time for somebody else to experience some of the great things that I've got to experience. And having a child who's now in after school sports, and there are times where I'm in meetings like tonight until probably about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and finding a sitter and not having that time after school with him. And then there's meetings sometimes at 7 a.m. so I've got to find someone to take him before school and take him to school, and it just has its own challenges. And I've decided after about 3.5 years, it's time for the next thing. Yeah.
Next adventure.
Yeah.
Just to quell any curiosity that you might have if you're listening, the board is currently in the process of finding the new executive director. And we feel like that they're going to do a good job in that process. Yeah. Neither of us can answer any questions. We are not involved in that process.
Nor do we want to be.
No, so if you're coming here and you're asking what's the scoop, what's the big secret, I don't have it.
Yeah, Hannah will be the interim director starting, what is this month? September 1st. So she will be taking over all the events coming up until they find somebody else. So just ask everybody to be patient. I know Hannah's been here for a year and a half, but also a whole year and a half of COVID. void. So nothing, even if she has done it, has been done correctly or normally. So she will answer the questions as best as possible, but be patient. She has not been in my shoes yet,
Nope.
nor does she want to have to feel overwhelmed, but she'll definitely try to answer the questions. And like she said, I know everybody has been asking questions, and obviously this is a position that's also in the spotlight, so everybody wants to know what's going on. So I don't want to be involved, because then if they hire somebody who's not as great, then it's on us. So it's one of those, like, I trust the board will hire somebody that they believe will like serve our community as well as I have our past directors. And Hannah will let us steer the ship.
I'm holding down the fort. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, I feel like we have a very good board. It's a good group of people. They have the best interest of the chamber at heart. They are going to do an excellent job choosing your successor. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to show that new person the ropes and get them here on the podcast. So
awesome.
After this episode, we will be going on a little bit of a hiatus, just as we continue going through this transition process. And once the new person is in, I'll make sure to record an episode and introduce them to you all, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so we're just pretty much hanging out now, trying to make sure everything's organized. Not only for Hannah, but for when the next person comes in, I want everything to be easily found. Obviously, when you've been here for that long, I feel like I live in here, so my stuff is scattered everywhere. I know I've taken boxes of my stuff to my car, just so that when the next person comes in, everything's organized and clean, because I want the next person to succeed and do great things here, and makes it easier for you to find while you're waiting for the next person. And it's been a pretty fun 3.5 years.
So, on your 3.5-year journey, let's take a brief look into the story of Amanda. Is there any memories from your humble beginnings at the chamber that you want to share? Any fun stories or?
I've been through a lot being here. So I started out as the assistant. I was the assistant for like 9 or 10 months. And then I had to hold the fort down for about a month or two, and I decided that I wanted to have the position I have now and decided to apply. Obviously, the board saw that I could already do the job, and that was like a really good plus that I had, and I received the position, and then kind of just took off from there. I've gained 76 members since I became director, 43 during the COVID year. Thank you. I finally looked that up. So I have created the Think Local First Day event. I created the podcast, the brand new website, member-to-member benefits. I've revamped the steak fry. I've gotten rid of a lot of things that I don't feel were really necessary to the benefits of our members, and did a lot of collaborations with other chambers and other businesses, a lot of great after hours, hundreds of ribbon cuttings. I did a lot so far.
What event would you say is your favorite?
Oh gosh, that's hard, because I feel like every time an event comes up, I'm like, oh, this one's my favorite. I would have to say between the steak fry and the golf outing, and Think Local First Day, they all each have their own, and I hope for the holidays. So I would say my favorite would probably be the golf outing in a working term, because there's a lot put into the golf outing, but when the day comes, it's not too much of an effort. So you really get to be outside. It's beautiful weather, and David and Debbie are amazing to work with. And then you just kind of it's a day that you get to hang out with the members. I don't usually get to, because we're running around like a rooster. So it's a nice day to just enjoy being outside. That's kind of why I like the steak fry. That one's a little hectic of a day, but that's also a nice, you see the members come out in more of their relaxed apparel. And then obviously Think Local First Day, because that was like my child I created. That was something me and Scott Washburn did, as he really appreciated like the small businesses. And I helped, we have that dream of this is what I want people to do downtown, and it came alive, and the fact that it continues to grow. And then obviously home for the holidays just because I love Christmas. So 2 years, yeah, because we didn't get to do it last year really. It's kind of half and half. The year before was my first year doing it completely, and we had the biggest parade we've ever had, and like our whole downtown was packed. Like people could barely even stand in the streets, and it's just amazing to be able to stand there at the end of the day and be like, holy cow, like I brought all these people here, like I did that. And I think sometimes like you forget because you're in, this is a job, so you're in the hustle bustle of like, okay, that's done. What's on to the next thing? Because we have something else coming up in the next few weeks. So I think Home for the Holidays is a really good one where I'm like, oh, we don't have anything for a little bit. Like, this is great. Look at all these people. So yeah, it's so hard to pick one because I love them all, but I would say the golf outing.
I would agree with you, and also I haven't been to most of those other events because of COVID. So
yeah.
No, I also enjoyed the golf outing because it's a lot of work to get to that day, and then once you're there, it's
so fun.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's always been beautiful weather. Thankfully this year, my first year that I did the golf outing myself as director, we had to reschedule it 3 times because of flooding. And then the year before that was COVID, so we had to reschedule it, and then it was awkward. So then this year I was like, we're gonna have it. It's gonna be on this day, and it worked out. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You already kind of answered this next question a couple times in your previous answer, but what would you say you think is your biggest accomplishment as the chamber director?
I think my biggest accomplishment is the fact that for some reason, all of these people in this county and my members trust like what I have to say so much. The fact that I'm such a reliable source of like, oh, I've had so many people, it doesn't even have to relate to the chamber, that's like, oh, let's text Amanda, she would know. Like, so many people are like, oh, she'll know. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, somebody's brought me somebody else, and they're like, hey, do you know where to find this? And I always say I'm full of, like useful, useless knowledge, and I think that's a huge thing that, like, when I say something or do something, people know, like, they can count on that, and they know it's right, because, like I said, I have a lot of knowledge for some reason this town. So I think just knowing that everybody knows that they can come to me for something, and whether I don't know the answer, I know somebody.
Yeah,
it does.
And that's knowledge you're gonna carry with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You'll go to the next place and people will probably still be asking like, "Hey, do you know who I should contact for?"
Yeah, or just like the other day when a business stopped in, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't really have a name in the town at all until like you came around, and like we are booming now. Like you put our name out there, and just to know that like." I don't like cliche help at least one person, but if I got to at least help a few businesses, make some business that they didn't think they could.
Yep. If you had the ability to just go back in time to any point during your 3-year run working here, is there anything you would change? Anything you'd do differently?
Well, let's take that one. I wouldn't say I wouldn't change anything. I think I've done the best I could do in anything, but I think I would say standing up for myself more. Being a young woman in business, it's very hard. You're either, oh, you're a girl or you're young. I think a lot of people still in that mindset have that, and I've had to prove myself a lot harder. And a lot of times I would question what I would say, and I wouldn't say as much, or I wouldn't talk up in that many meetings. Now I'll talk in any meeting. I don't care. I'm going to stand up for what's right. But I would say, even a year ago, a year and a half ago, I would hold back a lot in meetings, and I just wish I would have had more confidence back then. To be like, no, this is the way we're going to do it, because this is the way it's going to work, instead of, it's kind of like a pushover.
Yeah.
And then I was like, heck no, these are my members, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that they're getting what they're supposed to. So sometimes you gotta hurt feelings, and that sucks, but it's the right thing to do.
Being a leader isn't easy.
It is not. It's not. You take all of that home, and like you said, there's no clock out time, so Unfortunately, if I've made somebody upset, I still gotta go to the grocery store and I'll probably see them. Or I think it's the hardest thing. You can't make all four. We have 407 members at least. Someone's gonna be mad sometime, and that's hard because then you take that home.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's like one of the worst facts of life, though. I think is that you cannot go through life without someone's not gonna be happy with you. Someone's not gonna like you. Someone's not gonna like what you're doing. And just from my standpoint, I think maybe that might be one of the hardest aspects of your job is that like a normal person, you're not gonna make everyone happy, but you, it's like you're not gonna make everyone happy, and also you're in the spotlight and they're depending on you to talk, so it's just like putting a magnifying glass on that. I feel like
it's like it is living under a magnifying glass. It's a leadership role. It's a very public role, and that's something also being a young individual. It's very hard sometimes for people to have the magnifying glass, and I can be very professional, very mature. But sometimes it holds you back from being who you really are as a person. And I think I've been very transparent. I think that's one reason my members like me, because I am very down to earth, and I don't care if you're wearing a suit or it's like you treat the CEO the same as the janitor. That's who I am. I don't care where you're from. If I genuinely like to talk to the people that do the bottom of the work and the top of the work, because everybody's important. And I think that's why, because I've treated everyone fairly, and it's just how I've been.
Yeah. If you could give any advice to the next director, let's pretend they're standing right here, what would you say to them? What do you think's some important things they should know, or things that they should take with them into the job?
Take your lunch breaks. Learn to say no. You don't have to be on every board that they ask. That's a huge thing. It's like, that I can never say no, because I would say, I'm not going to be on any more boards or saying no to any more commitments, and then somebody call me, okay. That's just who I am. But I would just say, when you start, set a boundary from the beginning. I never set any boundaries with my members or people, because I always wanted to help people, but then it came to the point that people would call me while I'm at home, 8, 9 o'clock at night, or just people that would come to my home. People, you have to set a boundary with people. And I think any leadership role, people know, and they'll say that. I know when I came into this role, the previous director told me that, don't put, shut your phone off at a certain time, or do this and that, and you're always like, yes, I'm going to, and then you get wrapped up into it. So the worst, not the worst, but the biggest thing I would say is take a lunch break. You deserve to take, I mean, even if you don't believe in an hour lunch, a half-hour lunch for yourself. You need to recharge. Because, like I said, there's times that I come in at 7 a.m. and then I don't come home until 9 p.m. And you don't get to eat, and then you're exhausted, and then you do it all over again. So I think that's my biggest thing, is freaking take a lunch. I told you that, when we're gone, when I was in her spot and I had the previous director left, I didn't take a lunch break. I stayed in here. I was in here 12, 13 hours a day. And I think, that's how you get burnout.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest reason that leaders leave. It's a burnout. You love what you do, but there's a point in your life where you're just exhausted.
Yeah, this isn't your whole life. You have a life outside of this.
Yeah.
And I do remember, when I first started here, those first couple of weeks, you're like, here's my schedule. And I was like, when do you sleep?
Yeah.
When do you go to bed?
Yeah, and it's I will get a text, during Christmas, I ran here a million times, because I hate for, this would be my mind things, someone to be like, can I get a gift certificate? And typical people will be like, I'm so sorry, we are closed. But I'm like, yeah, I live right down the road, I'll be in. So that's what I'm saying, set boundaries. As soon as you're in there, do not answer text messages after 5, things like that. Once they cross that boundary, and it's not their fault, you've allowed them to. And a lot of people do that, even in their personal lives. So it's just set a boundary for yourself when you come in, and stick to that, and know that you are allowed to be a person outside on this world.
It's you're human and they're human, and it's natural, I think, to want to help people, but you don't want to get stepped on and have this eat your entire life.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing. It's a lot of people are like, oh, this young blonde sycamore gal's coming in here and thinking she's big stuff, and being able to prove hey, I can do this, and I'm gonna do it well. was a big thing. So.
Where would you like to see the chamber go? What are your hopes for the future of the Chamber of Commerce?
To continue youthfulness, I will always push that here, not just in Upper Tennessee, but Wyandot County. I hate when people say that we're a farming town. I love farmers. I have farmers in my family, but I mean, if we're going to continue to thrive and we're going to continue to grow, we need to accommodate to what's happening and what's going to happen. And we need to get our county up to date. I think we're heading in that direction. I think we still probably have another 10 years. I believe I'll probably be in like my 40s by the time it'll actually be what I want it to be today. But to have an open mind to people that are in their 20s and 30s, or some of the people that are in their 40s that are trying to do some of these different things that are different to you, to know that even though that's different to you, that's what's wanted right now. So I'd love for the chamber director to continue advocating that and not just settling. Because I think a lot of people just settle to what's normal. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to be the different person. I mean, I've run into that of being younger and different and wanting more of the younger stuff to come around. So I'm just hoping that they continue to advocate for all the members that are here. Because there is like, I've got, farmers that are members. We've got accountants, and everybody's different. And you need to accommodate to each one, and each one is just as good. I mean, I'm not saying we're a farmer's town, like farmers aren't great, but we have that mindset that like we need to be like tractors and just stay the way we are. And in some aspects, we need to always remember where you come from.
Yeah.
But know that there's like a different future.
Yeah, it's like farmers are important, but
there's also other important things.
A lot of other things here too.
Yeah, and if we want to keep the farms, then we need to do that. We need the families to move in here and take over those farms or things like that.
Yeah, there needs to be a web of commerce and trade to support the farmers so that they continue as well.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want to stay in this town with my son and thrive, and I don't want to see my friends move to Columbus and everything like that. But we need to continue to see, breweries and stuff that's popular in here, and axe throwing, and bubble teas, like things that like people. I don't want to keep saying our age, but like travel at least a half hour, an hour to go do. We need to start bringing that to us.
Yeah, people need to want to travel to Wyandot.
Yes, and I think we are getting there. I mean, the pedal cart is amazing. We have a great winery, so we have parts coming. I just think we need to continue. I always say that's going to continue that instead of go backwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all my questions that I had for you. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any message to our members? Message to our board?
I should tell the new director there's a ghost. And John, please treat him respectfully. She doesn't believe in him, but I'm sure when I'm gone and she's here by herself, he's going to be like, here's my chance.
John, if you are real and you are listening, show us a sign right now.
Well, he's not going to show us up. He's shy.
He's camera shy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, But
I
have had plenty of experiences with him. Maybe he's the one I'm going to miss the most because he has frightened me.
He didn't help you with anything.
He has frightened me quite a few. He's made me go home a few times. And I think he is the reason I would actually go home sometimes at like 6 o'clock because I would sit at my desk and Dean Reed can vouch for this one. I thought somebody was up front. So I was like, listening. And then I was like, no, wait, the door's locked. So I was so scared to go up front because I heard somebody up there that I texted him. I was like, will you come down here? I think there's like somebody up front. And there was nobody. And then I've sat here and me and Dan both looked up at the ceiling at the same time because we heard footprints. And I've had that door locked that goes upstairs that nobody's ever locked. I think he plays with me.
This just in, I'm gonna tear the blanket off this. The real reason Amanda is quitting is because the chamber is haunted and she can no longer take the paranormal activity. That's it.
I love John.
Paranormal activity Upper Sandusky edition.
Come bring them here. But he has, like you can walk in sometimes and the bathroom lights on and there's nobody here and it's a
it's motion detected.
Yeah. There's no motion in here.
Sometimes glitches.
It does not glitch. See, this is why John's gonna like terrorize her God because I protect him.
I'm gonna terrorize John. He's gonna be doing his best to be like, I'm here, see me.
Yes.
And I'll be like, God, it's just the atmosphere.
Because this is old.
Air pressure.
How old did we say this was? Like 1860?
No, 18. Was it 18? I feel like it was the 1840s.
Something like that. The 1800s.
It was an old building.
So there's no way that there's not. And I firmly believe if you just don't mess with them, they'll be fine. And there's been enough creepy things that have happened in here. We actually had an injured thief because he heard something. Yeah, it was a weird week because that was the same week that me and Dan heard it, and then Taylor heard something. I'm just saying, it's a really old building. And I believe that it's haunted, but I also am not scared of hauntings, so that's not why I'm leaving. Because I respect ghosts, and I think that they should stay where they're living. And we are in their home, so. I've had that happen. We've had a flooding. I've had a lady fall out the back window. There was a lady, it was like my first week as director. And I get a call from Dan, was like, hey, I'm heading to the chamber. Like, Sarah Lou just called me and said, like, they've got to get to the building. Well, this lady apparently was fallen out of the window. We'll just say that. But she fell out of the window, and the only access back there, because it's closed off, is through our building. So the cops had to come through our building to get into the back to carry a woman out. Probably just.
Maybe. Do you think the ghost is responsible for the mysterious spray paintings back there?
Oh yeah, we also had somebody vandalize the back of our building on my day off.
So yeah, okay, that one I'll admit that's a little creepy because how do you? This is the only access point for that courtyard, and the doors were locked, and someone got back there and with spray paint and some very strong, coarse language expressed their distaste for the year 2020.
Which we all agree with, but let's not write it on the wall.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, it was like my day off. Like, you weren't even here that day.
No.
Like, we're like close. Like, Sarah Lou was here, nobody.
I think.
I don't know why we weren't here.
I was not here because my grandma had just passed away like the night before.
Yeah.
So I was in Marion dealing with that.
Yeah.
And I got a text from you saying, look at this. Well, how did this happen? I'm
like,
yeah. What is happening right now?
Yes, and I was like, you know what, I either left earlier the day off, and Sarah Lou wasn't here either. And I'm just floating in my parents' pool. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna leave my phone down, and I like picked up my phone, and I had a million missed calls and messages that was like, hey, the police are trying to get into the building, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, there's access to one other building, but somebody goes back there just like a wee whack. But that's the only reason that door is used, and it's obviously always locked and closed as well. So they went back there and they saw it, and obviously they're trying to get a hold of me to get in through this building. And yeah, they vandalized it. I've had that happen. I'm trying to think of like the crazy other things that's happened. I do remember one funny story. So I was trying to think of something funny that's happened, which I'm sure there's plenty of it, but talking about it's probably either happened out of members or something that shouldn't have happened. So one time, this actually involves Hannah, and it makes me laugh. So we had the steak fry last year. Yeah, last year, and me and Greg and her were at the museum getting tables. And Hannah was parked at the museum in an upper, and we were parked at like the building, which was kind of like almost pretty much like a street over. And I was like, it makes me laugh so hard. Hannah's walking to her car, and I was like, I'm just gonna hop in with Greg. Greg Kimball was our president at the time, and he brought one of their Kimball bands to put all the tables and chairs in. And I don't even think about it, and me and Greg start taking off into the van, and we're just driving
you
away.
Said, Hannah, we'll meet you at the winery, and then left, and I'm standing there going, I've never been to the winery. Where is it?
Or anything. And we're and Greg's having a normal conversation, and like at least halfway there, Greg goes, didn't you say Hannah was gonna follow us? And I was like, oh no. So I called her, I was like, where are you at? And she's like, I don't know. But she's like, I'll try to Google it and then I'll get there, and I laughed so hard.
I found it. I did find the winery. We made it.
Oh my
but like
God.
you guys had just waited maybe like 20 seconds for me to run and get in my car and get positioned behind you. Then I could have followed you.
We literally I was literally like, hey now, we'll meet you there, and then jumped in the van and we took off, and she was still walking to her car.
I'm so loved here.
It was a good experience.
See, that's what you're like, you know what, Hannah found her way to the winery. She can run the chamber for a little bit, right? Same thing.
She will always figure it out.
That's what you always do. You just jump in a car and drive off.
No.
Got it.
Oh, you got it. It's fine. I know. I always forget that like she like hadn't been to these things yet.
I'm not from here. I still don't really know where some things are or who some people are.
Yeah.
It's
getting there.
I'm getting there. I'm getting better. To our members and any listeners, if in the future I either stare blankly at you or I mess up your name, I apologize. I'm just not good with names in general, and it doesn't mean I don't value you, and it doesn't mean I don't remember who you are, because I do remember faces. I was a substitute teacher for many years and just perfected the art of hearing a name and remembering it for 20 minutes and then tossing it out of my head.
Mm.
And that has completely destroyed my ability to remember names, and I need to hear them at least 5 times. So it's not personal.
No.
I value all of you.
And I will be just a text away to help Hannah with anything. And so you can't say, well, Amanda said this, because we will still be in
check
touch.
the receipts.
Yes.
Amanda, did you say that? She said she didn't say that.
Yeah, we'll
You're
still
not
be in
gonna
touch.
pull the wool over me.
That's right. Can't do that here.
Nope.
That's right. Okay.
Alright, well.
Sad
This
ending,
is it.
but this
This
is
is your
it.
final podcast episode. And
Yeah.
I guess on behalf of our members and everyone listening, thanks for being here, and thank you for starting this podcast and working at the chamber, and we will see you around town, and you will not be that far away. You'll still be here.
Yeah, I will be here.
Watching from a distance.
That's right. Come see me. Come say hello on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Come see me. Have a drink with me.
That's all. No, let's not do shots.
I mean, if that's what you prefer as a member, we will not provide them, but drink at your own discretion.
Soft, responsible drinking.
And we will have food. So we're going to sober it up, absorb it. To absorb it.
Plenty of responsible networking.
Yeah.
We will see you at the
I'll
parties,
see you around town.
and we'll see you around.